one. Oh, hi, folks. You are watching and listening to a special open bar with Mike Morales, and I'm here with my co-host. That guy over there is
Rick Levy, and also in Southern California.
And we have the distinct pleasure of having with us. Um, Go ahead, Rick. Why don't you do the introductions? Because you do it better than I do.
Well, that's interesting.
We have with us tonight Juan de Leon, who we have dubbed the second most interesting man in the world.
Yeah. Hi, Juan. How are you, man?
I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm such in awe of you guys that just got to meet you today. And all of a sudden, let's meet up. Let's do this, and right off the cuff, like you said, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, we're literally going to second base on our first date. So we're doing. If you folks have never tuned into Open Bar, what this is it's an interview with tastemakers and brand owners and people in the industry, and we're going to be doing a lot more of these coming here in 2022. That's
Nice.
We're actually recording this in 2021 at the tail end. We're in September right now, but you folks probably won't see this until maybe January. So hopefully at that point you will have enjoyed Juan de Leon tequila, and this is the actual. This is not a fake brand, folks. You're looking at the guy whose name is on this label. And I got first of all, if you've not had this brand, you have 5 different expressions. Okay, I got 2 big questions for you.
Yeah.
5. Okay, most brands only start with. We've had brands only start with an añejo, and then in the preceding years they'll bring out a reposado, they'll bring out then eventually you see a blanco, or sometimes it's the other way around. My first question to you, Juan, and you can follow Juan on Instagram. He's quite an interesting guy. I've seen him on a skateboard. I've seen him in Mexico. I've seen him. He's everywhere, man. I don't know who does your social media, but we need to hire this guy.
It's me. I'm doing it.
Okay, so we have to ask you why tequila? Okay, why? What possessed you at this point in your life to go, hey, you know what? I want one of those now. I mean, you got everything else, so why?
Well, back in high school, everybody used to go on spring break to Vallarta and to everywhere. I used to go to Guadalajara because family is from there, and I have old friends from high school that lived in Guadalajara. So they would go home in spring break, and I would go with them. And I fell in love with Guadalajara, and I fell in love with tequila at a very young age, about 18. And
hey, if it was younger, that's okay too.
For us, spring break was being around, the traditional places in Guadalajara. We actually went down to a small distillery in Jesus Maria, where a family member was there too, but not my family members. But as I grew more interest, I found more family members, but through my wife's side, you see. And so, hi, my son's here. And so I fell in love with tequila. I fell in love with Guadalajara. I fell in love with the agave since then, right? And so it was a feeling that I just kept on going back and forth, And so when I've met my wife, she is from Arandas, Jalisco, but I met her here in Tijuana. That's where I was born, in Playa de Tijuana. And so we took on a relationship. I've been married 26 years, and we go back and forth. We go back and forth, and we haven't done it for a couple of years, but every year we used to go for a family. There's so much family, and one of them has an agave hacienda, and so the kids would run around playing hide and seek around the agaves at night, and just everything about tequila. And right there, the family told me, why don't you make your tequila Juan de Leon? Okay, I will. And that was in 2008, 2008.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I little by little I started getting into it. I would stop and then I would continue, but I never stopped. And I always loved doing it. And my kids got involved. They said, well, with the Lion King, the movie coming out, and that's why I have the photo like the Lion King, So
It kind of does look. It could have been worse. You could have had the chimpanzee or the.
well,
You know,
no.
you could have had the. What is it? That's a mandrill, isn't it? In the movie, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I take pride because my son was drawing something like that when we were coming back from the airplane, and I've always kept it with me. But every little thing, just about tequila, I just started looking into it. My wife's family, they were or they are in the business of tequila, and so that was just a while back. I don't lost track of that a little bit, but they had an old bottle of the family right here. This is the abuelo.
Oh.
So we've had some history as far as my wife, But that's why I like tequila, and that's why I made my tequila. It all happened out of just family and love, and just hey, why don't you do this and put your name on it? And so I did, and that was a big challenge for me because it's my name on the bottle, and so. You can see other brands, you can see other things, but I put this love into it. I love the artwork, and I had special Sergio Sanchez Santa Maria from Morelos do me the design from the front and the back logo.
Yeah.
If you look him up, it's Sergio Sanchez Santa Maria online on Instagram. Is Grabador 1976, I think.
This is because it does look like it's etched in wood a little bit.
He did. I have the original artwork. Artwork. Yeah.
Wow.
So everything I picked out of people that I saw him on Instagram. I was following him already, and I said, "Hey, why don't you do this for me?" And yeah, it'd be an honor. And so just one thing after another, and it came about. This is how it just came about, And I had no idea about the size of the bottle. I just knew that I liked that bottle, and I wanted it, my picture like that, and I visualized everything from a long time ago, and I kept my idea the same way. Some people tell me, no, you got to change this, you got to change that. You know what? I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing anything unless the industry tells me, or I run out of glass, like there's no more glass. I got to wait till December for this glass to come out. Just those things, but it's a work of art. It's a work in progress. And the tequila, especially what's inside the tequila, the real taste of tequila, it's taken me 13 years to tune this taste that I like. I'm not a catador. I am not a aficionado. I am just one guy that took a long time to find the right distillery, because I did go through a couple of them, and I did find some good things and some bad things, and I found this guy a couple of years back, and him and I share the same love, the same orgullo, and so it's like we just clicked. He likes to paint, I like to paint. It just that we clicked. We clicked because he just loves what he's doing, and it's traditional. It's traditional, and he doesn't accept a lot of people into his company, which is a good thing, or because he just doesn't want no more. He wants to keep to his. He wants to keep to his perfil. He wants to keep that same perfil all the time. He doesn't want to move it. So this is why I picked this tequila. And so there is a lot of things that we might change, maybe adding something else, maybe special cast or special, what do they call them?
Special
things. Yeah. So, anyways, that was my story about that.
What did you do what do you do for a living? I mean, the reason I ask is that Rick knows, we've talked about this before, that everybody on our tasting team does something else for a living, except for me and so this is all we do. And so it's interesting for me to find out what your background is, because I love the story about how this has been a an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
This is tequila and Jalisco and Arandas has been all big part of your life.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand, but got to pay the bills. So how, but
Okay.
a lot of people come from different backgrounds and they find themselves in tequila. So it's always fascinating for me to find out what you did for a living and how that has gone into this, if indeed it even has.
Yeah. Well, I've always been into a mom and pop family, automotive business, and right off the high school, I had a I started work. I've been working with my dad since I was in junior high, and they had a automotive repair shop, and I got a associate's degree in automotive. And so I had my ASC certifications, and I made that for my living for the beginning of my growing up with my kids. I have twins that are 24. I have another one that's 23. I got married at 24. I had them at 27. So right off the get go, I had a job. I was a technician, but I didn't really like that. But I left that field, and I always liked gardening, landscaping, and so I went into landscaping, and then I got into the school district as a gardener. And since then, I've been a gardener for the school district here in San Diego, and it's been what I love. It's been what I like. I plant agaves everywhere, even though they tell me not to. But they say, "Hey, I didn't see that one. I've never seen the one that was there before. What? Now they tell me, hey, what type of agave is that over there?" And I tell.
Have you learned it? So basically, the landscaping has helped you with the identification of the plants and the quality, and I imagine that you've learned so much just doing that.
Yes, I know how much water and what not much water, and I know about the shades, and I know about the temperatures. I know what plants require sunlight, which don't, which flourish, which vitamins, which things to put, and I prune all the roses in the rose garden for my schools, and all the teachers go crazy. I want this one, I want that one. So I love what I do. I love what I do, because it's a job where it's been secure for me for the past, I don't know how many years. Being on your own, hustling on here, hustling there, doing here, having your own business, like, me, my dad, he still has it, the shop. I still go help him after work when I can. So because I'm in the front counter, or I do the paperwork, or I go to the accountant, I'm always helping my dad. My dad's always helped me. I've always helped my dad. He's been the best business partner for the past at least 30 years that he brought me into the shop when I was about 12. So I've always had that work ethic with never giving up, pursuing what you like. And it's been difficult at points, but everything, that's the way life is. But I'm here. I got a product that represents my family, our future, our legacy, and that's, I like just to think that I can start that, and so I want to make my family proud, and I want to make everybody proud when they taste it and say, hey, this guy is a regular Joe, a regular Juan.
A regular Juan. So Rick, do you have any questions for Juan? I know you had some like technical questions you want to ask Mr. Second most interesting man in the
I would love to know more about the production process that you're using and how you came to the profiles that you selected for each version.
Yeah, the profiles. Well, the main profile that I loved was because they were using French Cabernet Sauvignon barrels on all of them, well, except the Blanco. But the Blanco is chilled. They have a special process for that. I don't get too technical into that. All I know is the basics. All I know that it tastes good, and all I know is that the cooking process, they take their time in cooking the agave the way it's supposed to be cooked. They go and they pick out of the main fields that they've always picked the same agaves with the 30% the bricks content of the sugar content.
Okay.
That has to be no less. I mean, it has to be at 30 or plus. It can't be.
Wow.
It cannot be 26. It cannot be 28. It has to be 33.
Yeah,
32.
that's high.
That's
And
hot.
so, okay, so the certificado de origen, I think there's a couple of variations of definitions of certificado de origen, if it's in the plantation or if it's just the specific locations that they pick. Forgive me that I don't know all the details about that, but they take pride in just selecting out of where they buy, and they select the agave. They don't go,
So they
from
don't buy
Amatitan.
Right. They don't buy on the.
Amatitan.
Okay.
Only in Amatitan, and it's only local, and it's only their locations where they buy it from, and it has to be at that certain bricks sugar content of the piñas.
That's
So
tough.
that's tough to
That's tough.
constantly be
Yeah.
doing that, to consistently be doing that, and to be and I went there, and I saw, and I've been going back and forth, but every time it's a new thing. It's every time I learn something new, and I've been going down there for the past 8 years, with the same distiller, and finally, after just knowing that they keep their traditions the same, that's what I wanted. Because
So you wanted
gonna,
an old school. You were looking for an old school
oh
distillery.
yeah, it took me forever, but I found it, and Gnome 1500 is it.
Yeah,
It's
I was
in it.
gonna ask Rick because I know he's got the
Yeah.
information nearby.
Tequilera Las Juntas,
Yeah, that's
Yep.
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't make very many brands there.
Yeah, it's a
So
very
they're-
small to mid-sized distillery. Probably small. Like probably qualifies for
Yeah.
small as a distillery. So
And
they're
Mike and I have had another tequila out of there that we really enjoyed as well.
Yeah,
one?
the Laughing Gilligan, or is it the?
Julie Harlan.
Oh, what is
Well,
it?
yeah, there was Giggling Marlin that you've had,
Okay.
but
Yes.
we also did Tequila Kostiv.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, you folks are, like I say, you're watching this probably in January, somewhere early 2022. At this point, we will have already announced our winners of the Brands of Promise for 2021. Currently, Rick and myself, because we're recording this in September, Rick and myself are right now probably in the middle of doing our retasting and scoring of all of our Brands of Promise nominees. We
Right.
have not, we haven't, at this point, at this recording, we have not divulged the entire ballot. But when you folks see this, it will already be on the website. When you see just the Blanco category, that is a crowded field. And
Wow.
and Kostiv Tequila is in the mix.
Yeah.
So it's we got our work. Rick and I have our work cut out for
And
us.
Juan, you have done a wonderful job of capturing that Amatitan profile in your Blanco.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mike and I are big fans of that region, its particular characteristics, and they're all in there.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's Rick and I. Like I said, Rick is one of our senior tasters, and we've had so many tequilas now between the two of us that it helps me. The more I work with these guys, the more I understand where their palates lean toward or what they gravitate to. And so my job, as when I solicit brands and when they solicit us, is to find the right guy so that every brand has a level playing field and an even chance to be a brand of promise. And so over the years, Rick and I we could just find it. They don't even have to send us. Usually we ask for information, like POS, point of sale material, a sell sheet. 75 to 85% of the time we get nothing. And that's okay, because we just use our palates, we just go with it, and almost every single time we can pick it. and we just it's a Matitan. It's right there,
Oh, wow.
And so now I understand because the profile is so strong with this one, that and it boils down to the bricks at
Yeah.
this point, Juan.
And the texture in the body is incredible as well.
Oh yeah. At this point, the industry is in a agave shortage. It's
Oh, yeah.
right now. Yeah, it's in an añejo shortage. Somebody said to me the other day, I had a phone call from a friend of mine in Texas who said that people have been whispering that, yeah, there's hardly any añejo left, and now they're thinking that the reposado is going to be next because people are gravitating to repos now. So pretty soon there won't be any reposados on the market.
They're deciding what barrels, as far as what the months and the age, what they have in the reserve, depending on the market. What are they going to use that for? Are they going to use the reposado for that, or are they going to hold it off for the añejos? So they're calculating the demand, and they're juggling right now as far as doing that. So right now, that's why everybody's like getting mixed messages, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. What I was going to ask you, my next question is, why 5 expressions? Why didn't you just go with the basic 3? Why did you make it so difficult for yourself? Because you're not from your background is not from the liquor industry. So, and I think at this point you have a pretty good idea how cutthroat this business really is.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it right now.
You know what?
Because
Tell us what you're feeling. I want to know. A lot of people are afraid they're afraid to give it a voice or tell you what kind of problems that they're encountering in the industry. As far as Rick and I are concerned, the Juan de Leon will be a brand to reckon with. And with 5 different expressions, there are 5 different playing fields that you can play on. So what sort of challenges are you finding in the liquor industry right now for you as a startup brand that you're surprised at?
well, the availability of glass. It's the change of shifting gears from one bottle to picking another one, because if you don't have a special mold, if you don't have your own mold, because guys like me that just starting off and just with the budget, with what I have and all the years accumulated, I represent what you have right there. It's not like I had a lot of money to break out in 2 years, and here it is, and here's another million for me to. No, I don't do that. I'm going tomorrow. Well, not me, but I'll be representing at the LA Tequila Festival, and that's a challenge because it's like I had to go get an insurance really quick. I had to go do something. So, things that you get so wound up in doing. But back to your question, is like, what do I find challenging? Not so much the availability of tequila, because I already have a solid amount of 10,000 liters per month for this product. The only thing that I have to worry about is the availability of the bottle, and that changes. Like I just told you, it could change because if you have to wait 5-6 weeks, and then you have to wait for the production for this and this and that, so you got to calculate with the changing demand as far as glass, and so that is the issue right now. That's the issue that I had.
Right.
It could not be with maybe somebody else, but seeing then what other things are occurring. Now, the other thing about the añejo you said is like my price doubled, but I got it locked down to about a year for pricing for a year. Register. How should I say? Making sure that I have a production of so many liters of blanco, of rosa, añejo, and extrañejo. And that was my biggest challenge when I went to go down there a couple of months ago when you saw the photos that I posted. that was my challenge to get a written agreement, you know, uh, so that I can make sure that the next batch, the next amount of pallets, I will have the añejo and I will have the extra añejo. But you say, you know, like the challenges are, yeah. I love that. Mine is
This here. Here's
That
my,
okay.
that añejo is incredible. There's not going to be a time where I can't not have this in the house.
I
It's
I'm with you
amazing.
on
I
that
love it.
one. My wife is she loves añejo. She loves that añejo. And she likes the reposado. I like all of them, but she has her thing. I like the rose. The rose I can drink all night if I could, you know, but I can't.
yes, you
But
can.
okay, I can.
I didn't start out as an oakhead with tequila, and the people who are into the really aged versions, we call them oakheads. I came to it where I was really focused on the blancos, and I wanted to focus on the fruit itself.
Yeah.
And but what I do like to do with an añejo is I love to make myself a Latin Manhattan. So using añejo tequila instead of bourbon. And what I have found is that you have somehow captured, a Manhattan in a bottle with that añejo. You don't have to mix it. You don't have to do anything.
Mhm. Yes, go on. I'm sorry.
no, he's just Rick does cocktails on occasion, but as you can tell from his cabinets, he's a he's pretty much a purist, and so it's just whatever he feels like doing. But he's got his couple of favorites, and I think Latin Manhattan's like one of your. That's the one that's the bar that you grade every other tequila that you and I do that's got an aged version.
Latin Manhattan, you said?
Yeah.
I'm writing it down because it's going to be maybe a special drink that I'm going to have to create with the mixologist for a recipe or something like that for tequila Juan de Leon.
Rick can probably shoot you a recipe.
There you go.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Because we are going to do some photos with some mixologists, hopefully for the magazine, and just things that are coming out. You guys are all on it, and I'm excited. But it's just that, like to say, like it's just me, Emmanuel. You met Emmanuel, my nephew. Yes. I have another family member, Adolfo Mesa, who is my CEO, and Lucas Root, who's in charge of operations. So he just jumped on board, and he's gonna hopefully be at the event. And I can't make it because it's my mother's birthday.
Well, you just had a birthday yourself too, right? I mean,
yes.
Again,
my birthday is the 22nd, and my mom is the 23rd. But I had made reservations a while back on the 25th. I'll be at the Tequila Factory in Old Town, Rick. This Saturday from 6 o'clock.
So if Rick wants to crash the party,
so
don't ask Rick to crash a party because
well, they told me that I couldn't open the bottles, but I'm gonna just take one for photos for my family.
Oh yeah.
And so I take pride in the Rose because Rose was my grandmother side of my dad, De Leon, Rosa de Leon.
Rosa de Leon. So was that your idea, or were they already using those barrels when you made the Rosa?
They were already using the barrels. They were already using the barrels, and I fell in love with it, and Rosa de Leon, Tequila Juan de Leon, and I was like, it just makes sense. It's just like, yeah, please give me everything you got, and I went with everything, I didn't just start with one, like you said. Give me everything. Yeah. I want everything, and the guy was very flexible. The guy was like, he saw my enthusiasm. He saw what I really wanted to do, and no bullshit. Just hey, how can I get this going? And he's been a really good help. He's been a lot of support, And that's another thing, major support. That it's just that even though I'm small and he's dealt with big companies, he's dealt with other brands, and he's, but he sees a lot of potential. He sees a lot of him and me. He's a little younger than me, but yeah, it's cool. We click. It's the tradition, which is what we're all about. So, anyways, I get off subject. I apologize.
Oh no, you're this is what it's about. It's about
No, we love to hear it.
Yeah, it's about getting to know, because everybody's got a story. The thing that we find at Tequila Aficionado, and what we've always found, is that the big brands don't need us. The Cuervos and the Patrons and the Herraduras, they don't need us. Even though
you got it, Rick. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally, they'll throw us a tequila because their PR companies don't know any different. But we've always sought the younger brands, because and over the years, Rick will tell you that what we've discovered is that there are certain people, certain purists, that will gravitate to only certain craft brands, and they overlook guys like you and other brands that are very deserving of attention. And so that's why we named our awards the Brand of Promise Awards. And so we just have this affinity for the small guy. And a lot of times, you walk into a store, all you see is a ton. You walk into Old Town Tequila, and it's a treasure trove of tequila. It's daunting. They even put
me in the front.
The last time I walked in there was a couple years back, when I think we visited Rick, and they have a bargain bin. It's like going into a Walmart where you have to hold this bottle here. Down there, there's that bottle of whatever. 30
Yeah.
that you remember when you were a kid. And so
they have so much stuff there that they have.
Oh my God.
They have their cases piled up in front of the shelves. So if you're looking for something obscure or in particular, you have to kind of like move the stacks of cases out of the way and peek behind.
I'm going to send you photos of today. At the Old Town Tequila. At the Old Town.
Post them on Instagram, man. Just put them up there.
They just bought a box of each, which is great, and they put it right in the front, right by the cash register, and it's like
it's an impulse buy now.
And I'm like, whoa, yeah, like that was my dream. Thinking all these years back, and it's like, oh, I want my tequila there, and what if I could have my tequila, but shit comes real. All of a sudden, it's coming real, and I'm like jittery. I'm like, oh my God, it's here, and it's incredible feeling. It's an incredible feeling, because after all this time, even though we're not making a whole lot of splash right now, but people that have been behind me 100%, just those little things just mean so much. You know what I mean? Just to like, wow, yeah, you're really making it, Johnny. So it's like, it's a good feeling.
The attitude of gratitude goes a long way, with individual liquor store owners and things like that. I mean, the old school tequileros, they knew that whenever I remember Carlos Camarena, I was living in New Mexico at the time, and Carlos was one of the first ones to go and meet the distributors and go to the accounts and meet and greet and shake hands and kiss babies, and every old school tequilero knows that's where you gain a following, and you get these customers that are undyingly, they'll defend you, and they become your collaborators, and I see you doing the same thing. You give props to the liquor store that you've been to, that they picked up your item, or the restaurant that is serving your tequila, and that goes
a couple of clubs too,
that kind of thing goes a long way. I mean, I know I hate to say this, but I wrote an article years ago about how Jose Cuervo was the first one to romance chain Mexican restaurants they knew back then if they built that relationship, that these relationships would last, and they've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
So that that kind of meet and greet, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I props to you, because I know if you're not an outgoing person, or if you're not used to meeting hundreds, and you can ask Rick, hundreds and hundreds of people all at once ganging up on you, and you gotta talk about whatever item you're talking about.
Yeah.
It gets a little daunting, but it's kind of fun at the same time. You feed off their energy too, because they want to meet the guy behind the label. They do.
I've met a couple of bartenders, and they're like, I'm serving the Blanco at this price, and it's just going off the shelves, and they really like the taste of it, and it's really cool to have them give you such good vibes, good, even advice, and just going up and talking about who is Juan de Leon. It's just not the label, it's not the art. They want to know the story. And so after talking to a couple of hours, having a couple of shots, and when you meet the guy, when you meet the bartender, oh, this guy is a good bartender, oh, this guy's a good mixologist, and you get to know this guy, and it's just like he has the same story. He has the same story as how you started, how you did, but you like what you do, you follow what you do, and you keep on getting better and better all the time, and just people start following you, and that's what I like. That's what I like.
Well, he's doing a great job so far. You impressed the hell out of Rick when he heard the second most interesting man in the world. I love that. That was he thought that. I was like, oh my God, that's what it's funny when he said that. That's when I thought to myself, I better call Juan, because I had already met Emmanuel, and he calls himself Seamaster Wolf on Instagram.
Yeah, it's Adolfo.
And I bet that they came to the house, and they dropped these off, and then they lurked over at Rick's house. He found them on a security camera when they dropped up the tequila.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So it was kind of neat, because like we've always been small, even though we've been at it for 22 years. But we always gravitated to a brand with a story that was real. And you're about as real as it gets.
It's the authenticity. It's not a marketing gimmick.
Yeah.
No, and I can tell you the story.
Yeah.
It's just my story. And it's true. Yeah.
Right. And props for putting your name on the bottle, rather than some slick marketing thing. Because I don't know, Mike, you had a story once about, if I recall correctly, it was about, well, I don't want such and such tequila. I want his tequila.
What story was that? Refresh my memory.
Well, there's some tequilas we've had where they've tried to create a catchy name, and when you're drinking something that actually has somebody's name on it, you can feel more of a connection to the brand.
Yeah, well, I had a catador years ago, a good friend of mine that when I was here before I left for Texas, and when I interviewed him, he said to me, Jose Cuervo was a real person. He was a real tequilero. He was a real guy, not somebody made up, even though he's been, even though the brand and the family is over 250 years old, there was one guy who looked at that plant and saw the natives making what they were making, and they said, I got to make this for us, because we're all out of wine, whatever they thought of. And people lose sight of that. People believe that Don Julio is a made-up name. Don Julio was real, and his sons and his grandsons are making tequila. Granted, they have profited from Don Julio's legacy, so when they launch a brand, they obviously have a lot more reinforcing They have a lot more assets to work with.
Oh yeah.
But they also have a lot of history, a lot of, they learned a lot. I mean, I don't know if you've had it, Rick, but Lalo Blanco only comes in a Blanco. Lalo's a made from Don Julio's grandson, and and he learned to make it, and that's all he's doing. That's it. He's yeah, he's young, and I think just now he's getting married or something like that, but he's still, in his heart, he's still old school, which is kind of neat, even though people who are just coming on to tequila are probably a little skeptical, oh, it's Don Julio, it's probably going to be slick and yada yada, or they don't even know if Don Julio was a real guy, and those of us that are old enough to remember that Alex, as a matter of fact, our founder of Tequila Aficionado, has he told me he's got this recording where he interviewed Don Julio, and he has it on audio. He hasn't been able to convert it into something that we could use, but he's got some vintage stuff. And we were visiting distilleries. He was visiting distilleries long before it became a thing. Now there are tours, and when I visited, it was the first, what we call the first. It was a bunch of 35 of us who belonged to an online forum. It was the biggest blind date I've ever been on. Somebody coordinated 3 days of tasting, and 35 of us said yeah, and the other person coordinated, I don't know, hotel rooms and whatever, and somehow I got to go, and I've been in love ever since. But actually, I was in love prior to that. So, but it was really something to witness, and there was no agave shortage, and at that time it was just in its infancy, but. And now there wasn't even a tequila trail. Now there's a tequila trail, and now there's hotels, and there was none of that when we started, and so that's why I especially with Rick, we gravitate toward the brands with a story, and we get all kinds of names, and what do you think of the celebrities that are coming up with these tequilas? Just when you think you've had enough, somebody else jumps in the pool. Why are we seeing that? What's your
well, my opinion when Cabo Wabo first came out was Sammy Hagar, and now he's done everything that has happened, as in the industry. And so come full circle, he has another product coming out, which is what's seltzer or something that's coming like that. But back then, to me, let's just go back a little bit further. When Cazadores first boom, they really had that boom of tequila,
right?
And so the demand, and so everything. I was in the middle of that. I was living it. I would go into Calimax, into Tijuana, and I would see the stacks of bottles of I want that. So now that I see all these stars, and it's good for the industry, but it's not good for a legacy. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So so basically what this
I'm in the bubble of thinking, okay, is it going to push the limits to what people like myself really want to do? You know what I mean? Or is it somebody going to just get that bottle because it's their name, and they're going to have a shot, they're going to be showing it in the wrong way, because you can't control that. You just can't control the media. You can't control, but what you can control is maybe somebody like me that's small, that has a good product, and then eventually, I'll make a name for myself at my own pace, at my own taste, and not somebody that just is blowing it up just like the way they do. It's kind of like my idea, what I'm thinking.
Okay. I'll buy that. Rick, what else did you want to ask? I know you had a whole whole laundry list of questions.
Yes. So Mike and I have had tequilas before that have been finished in wine barrels, but I'm not sure we've had anything before that has been aged in a wine barrel from start to finish. How did you come to that?
Well, the process was already in process with other tequilas, right? And so it's the charred, it's the uncharred for the pink, and it's charred for the others. So it's the time. It's the 6 months for the reposado. It's the 18 months for the añejo. It's the 6 years for the extra añejo. And what was your question again? Maybe I'm going off subject.
Why specifically wine barrels? Why didn't you go like with whiskey or bourbon barrels? Was that your decision, or was it?
It was my decision a couple of years back, because it was a decision that they were starting to do this process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the wine barrel came about was through actually a kind of like a oops kind of a thing. And so when that oops came about and they tried it and they saw the pink and they saw that, it comes through an old family member of my lawyer in Guadalajara, that they were living in that moment when I was dealing with him to register my name, and I was trying to find a distillery, and he would tell me stories. And so that caught my attention back then, not knowing that I was going to have final production till now. You see what I mean? But since then, it captured my interest. And so I didn't have an interest, a whole lot of maybe a limousine barrel, maybe this, and to me, I actually wanted something really different because I like Cabernet Sauvignon. So there you go.
Your palate leads
to
my palate led to that. It's just me. It's a reflection of me, of what I used to, the wine that I like. And this is just not now. This has been going on for a couple of years, that you're thinking, I like wine, and this opportunity about this wine thing, and then how it came about and the story. And then I call my lawyer and say, so how did it really happen? How, so it's taking years. So it's just not like now, but it's hard to explain, because you like your palate, you like tequila, you somehow want to put it all together. And that's how it came about for deciding.
We've even had tequila that has been made by winemakers.
Yes.
and they didn't do this of aging it in the wine barrel from start to finish. And it gives it a very different profile than tequilas that have only been finished in the wine barrel.
Yeah, I had a lot of people criticize the process and the taste of the pink, because it's, in tequila matchmaker, there's not a whole lot of, I guess, reviews or a lot of distributors, my experience lately, where they were like, no, I don't want to manage the pink, because they have their own doubts. You know what I mean?
Let me just stop you right there. This year, when you see our brand of promise, and again, you folks are watching this in 2022, you can just go onto the website. You'll see the 2021 ballot. This wine trend that we're seeing happens this year. The 2021 is where it happens, and it's exploded. And for a distributor to tell you that he doesn't want to manage that, he's going to be out on his ear, because there are other brands with bigger pockets that are doing that right now. And I can name a few. We've tasted them. And each one of these has in a different category, believe it or not.
Right. And it may not be an official category, but it's a consumer category now.
Right. It's a consumer category. It's a category for us at Tequila Aficionado. When we run across a brand that distinguishes itself, tries to distinguish itself from the others in such a way that they're so different that it's unfair it's unfair to compare apples with oranges. So we don't do that. We don't lump all blancos together, because here you got one that's 90 proof, and it's going to blow away all the 80 proof ones. So we don't do that.
Right now, I'm mastering another craft of Blanco, and it's going to be a special Blanco. So it's going to come out next year, and you'll be the first to try it.
Good, because I want it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
wait.
gonna be
So I
it's
can.
gonna be an
What I,
especial. It's not a cristalino, but it's gonna be a Reserva Blanco especial. So we'll
sounds
see
like
what
Fuente
happens.
Seca to me. Sounds like right there.
So
What I wanted to
his,
say was
yes.
that the wine situation, the wine trend that we're seeing is a trend. And if your distributor is saying that to you, he needs to go back and study, because right now, Cali Rosa,
Oh yeah,
the Maroon 5,
yeah, yeah.
that's exclusively in wine barrels. We've had it. I've asked. I actually had to go back to the guy who's importing it and ask him, where are you getting the barrels? Is it being aged in bourbon first? And he unequivocally said no, strictly wine barrels. Because when you see the color of this wine, and it looks like it comes in a wine bottle, for God's sake. You can find it probably at Old Town, and it's red and brassy, but it's they're calling it an añejo. And they can legally do that because it's just the barrel. That's what it is, the barrel and the length of time. So that you're onto something. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Oh yeah.
I'm here to tell you that that's a trend that's going to stick around, and it's going to get bigger, because they're going to see it's like the seltzer thing. Everybody wants a canned seltzer now. Everybody
I've learned
wants
not to
a White
listen.
Claw.
I've learned not to listen, but I've learned to take all those things and strive. Because I'm on this train right now. And I'm not gonna go 100 miles an hour, but I'm gonna go at my pace. And everybody says one thing or another. And if I'm stopping at every stop and trying to bring in more luggage and trying to unload and trying to change things, I'm never gonna get to my destination. I'm going to do this no matter what people say, because I know what I have. You know what I mean? And if the trend's going to come, the trend's going to come. And I'm just glad I'm riding the wave. I'm glad that I'm riding the wave and that I'm here and it's here. Very limited edition. This is a limited edition, I want to say, because it's, type of bottle, type of label. I'm not thinking of changing anything, but I think the bottle might change a little bit. But that's about it. And then the back of the label has a lion god offering to the Mayans. That was my own idea. That was my own idea of the lion. Now, normally the Mayans have a jaguar, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
But I told the artist Sergio Sanchez Santamaria, I said, why don't you make me a lion representing the agave to the gods, and so he made that tune for me. And so, that he made that. And so I was in love.
It's very individual. We loved everything about it.
It's individual. Don't you feel like it's an individual? Because I see other labels,
Right.
I see other things, and it's like, but then everybody tells me that gravitates, that I like that. It's heavy, it's good, it's square, I like it, And a lot of liquor stores tell me, can't you make it a little rounder? So, because it takes too much space. But, all these things that I don't listen to, I just like, hey, you want it? It's here. I've been telling you for years. I buy it from you every day, liquor. So at least have it here at your place. That's why I get so much props, but it's great.
Rick, is there anything else you want to ask? Like I said, I know you had a laundry list of questions, but I want to wrap this up in about 10 minutes, and I want to give Juan a chance to actually, one of the questions that we ask, because Juan and everybody in your organization has filled out a profiles in agave spirits. We call it the who's who in agave spirits now. It'll be a big compendium coming out at the end of 2021.
Yeah.
And I know that your interview is in there. One of the questions that we ask is what do you want to tell people who are thinking about getting their own brand, and things like that. And so, but before I ask you that, Rick, is there something else you want to ask Juan that maybe, I know you're chomping at the bit for.
You can always call me, Rick. I'll give you my number and email me whatever you want to do. Yeah, we can meet up.
Yeah, when you send us that next expression, I definitely want to connect to find out more about your production process, so we can include it in the video.
Yes.
You know, I am going to dive into the production process. As a matter of fact, our next batch should be coming out in about 6 weeks. So I'll let you in on some of that, you know, and I'll write notes, and I'll keep my notes for our next, you know, talk.
We're a couple of geeks, and so we'll always ask, you know, is it open air fermentation or is it closed? Is it stainless steel or copper pot stills? You know, is it taona? Is it brick oven? Is it autoclave? Is it a combination of both? And those are the things that you know, in this realm of tequila, some people will ask you those questions, and others won't. Others won't care. They'll just like the bottle and they like the color. Well, I like agave.
Well,
whatever turns people on, that's cool. But when Rick and I and a lot of our other tasters, we go a little bit more in depth, and people want to know, especially when it comes to mezcal. They want to know: is it taona? Is it horse drawn? Is it industrial? Yeah. You know, that's a whole other animal over there on that side.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure he'll ask.
I'm gonna get to all those questions. I don't have all the information, you know, and I don't want to say something that I'm gonna be chomping at my thoughts. And okay, I know that they do it this way, and I know they do it that way, but
no, that's cool.
You know, it's. I like the process that they have, and I trust their process. I like the master distiller that has very good taste, a very good how should I say, palate.
Yeah. Who is that person? Can you give us a name?
I don't know if I should, but
people put the master distiller's signature on the bottle. Why not?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Again,
I don't want you to give away trade secrets.
We don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah. No, we do.
I know. I will get you all that information next time. Let's just keep it that way for right now. Out of respect.
No, absolutely. I totally understand. Okay, so we're about ready to wrap this up. People have been inspired by you. They love your story. They've seen the bottle now. They're going to go look for it at Old Town, or maybe they're going to order it, you know, online at Old Town or wherever else whatever your favorite restaurant in town is. But you got a guy or a gal. Now we have lots of women now who are looking at this and go, you know, I want to come up with my own tequila. What do you tell people like that? What would you say to somebody who comes up to you and says, I saw your interview, I've read, you know, your interview, whatever. I want to start my own tequila. What kind of advice do you give this person?
Well, the first thing that I stumbled, and that's why I want to give you advice, was that, you know, it's cliche, but they say, get your ducks in a row, right? What are your main thoughts? What's your objective? What is truly behind your idea? Really, is it an idea that you're going to stick through for a legacy, or is it an idea just that because it's a phase? There's a lot of you got to go deep in you and find out what you really want, because
you got to find out your why.
You got to find out really why, because you're going to go through a lot of aches. It's going to be fun, but if you're willing to do that and to represent something that truly, like the story I just gave you, that really resonates, that why you have a history, why you have this love affair, why do you have people really supporting you? That's another thing. If you really have family, and if you really got somebody really supporting you, like my wife for 26 years, been supporting me all this time, even though I felt that she didn't because she would criticize, that's support. If you got to find somebody that's going to support you, you got to find somebody like that, because you just can't do it on your own, because it's easier to give up. So all those little small things, it all falls into family. If you really want to do this for your family, you got to put a lot of thought into it. And so Everything else can be done. You can start investigating. You can spend money trying to have somebody come up with a name, register your name, find the distiller, find the taste, find everything. That's a no-brainer. That's easy. To me, that's easy. I see that as, but the hardest thing is really finding your why and why you want to do this and for how long you want to keep doing this.
Yeah, because this is a long game, boys and girls. And Rick and I say it. Myself and all the other tasters will constantly go. If you're in it for, you're not going to be the next Patron. That's lightning in a bottle. It doesn't happen like that. And now with the crowded field, you've really got to, like as Juan said, you got to know your why, and then you got to be able to play this long game. And the more of these brands that come along, with whether they're movie stars or rock stars, they got to understand this isn't going to happen overnight. I mean, this dream of yours, Juan, 2008. I mean, literally, this thing has been fermenting in his head for over 10 years, more than that.
More than that, 13.
Yeah. It's like when I tell people about Tequila Aficionado, we were a 22-year overnight success. We've been doing this for 20 years, and Rick's been here with us the longest. So, I totally agree with you, man. It's just, and fortunately, you have the family and you have the moral and support, and never mind the financials, because that, like you said, that's something you can handle or take care of. It can be done, but to have that emotional support, because this business eats its young. It's tough, and the more popular you become, the tougher the road, because people start to take notice, other brand owners, and you may have already come up with some of those challenges from competing brands.
Yeah.
So the more of these shows that you go with and attend, or the people that work with you attend, and the more friends that they make, especially if they're also, most often these shows are populated by startup brands, the more friends you have in that business, there's always strength in numbers. So make friends. When you do a show, make friends, shake hands, kiss babies. That's the thing.
I don't know if you're going tomorrow, but I wish I was there, because it all kind of came about, and so it was just the reservations that I already had with family. And that's the other thing, is like, I've done other shows, I've done other products, I've done other things of other businesses, of representing other things, and they took away a time. You see, but this is now giving me the time to be with family, because I've done all those trade shows, I've gone all the hotels, I've done all the prepping, I've done all the caring, I've done all the setups, and I'm going to do it. But now I have somebody that's doing it, and that feels really good. So yeah, I could keep on talking, and I'm surprised that I can, because I'm so nervous about this.
No, you know what? Thank you, Juan, for joining me and Rick on Open Bar. For those of you folks who maybe just caught in the middle of this whole thing, this is Juan de Leon. This is Juan de Leon Tequila. This is one of 5 different expressions, folks. Each one is stellar. Each one is a winner. We don't know yet whether they're Brand of Promise winners, but by the time you see this, you will know.
Oh, thank you for nominating me.
But
oh my God!
Wow! I mean, Rick would have run my neck if we hadn't.
We've been so excited just because of that, and my family's been very grateful, and I thank you for that, because it just shows, like, I had a big justification just with that alone. I mean, I can get chills, I can cry right now, but it just,
please.
Wow, man, it was really, it just meant so much. You just don't know how much it means.
Well, Rick and I do. We did.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Just the smallest little thing that can just trigger justification.
Right here, folks.
No, you're onto something, and it's obvious that it's a labor of love.
Yes.
And we tasted it in the bottle. The reviews will be hitting the web soon.
Ooh, I want to hear about that. Yeah.
We were just, we're blown away one after the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting because I think I said this to Rick in one of the reviews. I said, we're so used to seeing a natural progression of brand from Blanco, Reposado to Añejo or Extra Añejo, and there's a certain journey that a lot of these brands will follow. But with this one, every time it was almost like it's a different. It was 5 different expressions for 5 different flavor profiles for 5 different people. People that gravitate to blancos only. There was your blanco. People that like the wine thing, and so there's the rosa, and the people that oak heads. The guys and the cigar guys. Because I didn't even know you were a cigar guy like me. Because it's oh my God, I could just do this with a cigar. And each one. So it wasn't like a natural progression. Each one took Rick and me on a different journey, and that's when you can detect that simply by tasting. This is before you and I ever spoke on the phone, before we even met you. This was even way before this. I mean, literally, this is the first time that we've been face to face. So when you can, like Rick said, if you can taste that in the bottle, you can taste it in the juice. There's something about this guy, and that makes you the second most interesting man in the world. But I want to thank you for joining me on Open Bar and Rick on Open Bar. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Rick Levy, also in Southern California.
That gentleman right there is
Juan de Leon from San Diego.
Juan de Leon is a real guy, folks. Go get yourself a brand. Go get yourself an expression. And then, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a shout. Leave us a comment. Follow Juan on his Instagram. Follow Rick he's sort of kind of on Instagram. Follow us, Tequila Aficionado. Follow Mike at Timberelk on Instagram. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Really.